Hello and welcome to another edition of Business Africa. I am Afolake Oyinloye. The week's top stories. The International Monetary Fund puts forward a plan to restore macroeconomic stability in Congo. Morocco to launch first high-speed train in Africa. Mozambique coal exploration project fails to compensate displaced families. The International Monetary Fund has proposed a program to restore the macroeconomic stability of the Republic of Congo. Based on the assessment of the officials from the IMF, the country's economic growth continues to contract while the government savings have declined. They have equally revealed that the weight of the Congo's debt, which represents 110% of the country's gross domestic product. The story you're about to watch throws more light on the reactions of the government.
The Republic of Congo is in debt and has announced its intention to negotiate with the International Monetary Fund. At a press conference in Brazzaville, Prime Minister Clement Mwamba said it would be necessary to make oil a supplementary product. Mwamba spoke a few days after an IMF mission visited the Congolese capital. The mission stressed that the country still lives above its means despite the crisis. We were used to a certain financial ease. Our budget had reached $4 billion. In this case, it was divided by 50% and 33% in the following year. Imagine the difficulties facing the country. Despite these challenges, Congo maneuvered its way to avoid being placed under a structural adjustment program, unlike almost all CIMAC countries. Last March, the country claimed an indebtedness of 77% of its GDP. But a debt reassessment by the IMF showed the Republic of Congo had cut down on an initial figure of 110%. This is false. Nothing has been hidden. The amounts of debts are known. I do not like to give the numbers because numbers vary all the time, especially with them. The most recent move from the IMF to Congo was only one step in the process. The negotiations themselves and the conclusion of an agreement will follow. Congo wants this program urgently. Congo is above all concerned with preserving its social protection programs.
Brazzaville, Africanews.
William Bahia, Africanews business journalist, joins us on set to share more on the story. It's always a pleasure to have you on set. Now, what justifies the government's decision to turn to the IMF at this point in time?
Hello, Afolake. Please listen. You have a reason to ask the question, since Congo is one of the few countries in Central Africa that had not yet signed for assistance with IMF since the beginning of the year. Yet the country is also experiencing a severe economic crisis due to the fall in the price of oil. And it could not be exaggerated to say that despite this situation, Brazzaville spends more money than it does have. The Prime Minister, Clement Mwamba, assures that the debt of Congo represents just 1/5 of the totality of the debt of the CIMAC. But in detail, Congo accumulates a liability of at least $9 billion for an annual income of less than $8 billion. In comparison, Cameroon, the first economic power of the CIMAC zone, spent approximately the same amount as Congo. Only its GDP is 3 times higher. During the recent visit of the team of the International Monetary Fund to the capital, it precisely appeared that the debt of Congo at the end of July 2017 is more than its revenues.
Now, Congo on the structural adjustment plan, what does that mean for the Congolese government and the people specifically?
I must first remind you that the Congolese government has rejected the possibility of a structural adjustment plan with the IMF before accepting the negotiations of the terms of its debt with its creditors. The cause is simple. The structural adjustment programs of the IMF have not specifically been in a good press in Africa. It is also the reason for which the Prime Minister Clement Mwamba requested that they are preserved. Now, what await the Congolese state? First, there will be an allocation of the IMF which will mainly be used to offset a portion of the debt. Besides, the state will have to bend for a control in order that the fund ensures that the finances are well managed. It will also be necessary to expect that social measures are blocked. This is the case of the possible increases in salaries of civil servants for the maintenance of the subsidy on the hydrocarbons, and that the citizens will feel it directly in the coming months or even in the next few weeks. This will be a greater tax pressure. The context where the sale of the oil is evil, the state will put the emphasis on the collection of tax and custom duties. Clement Mwamba clearly said on Tuesday at a press conference.
Well, thank you very much for sharing, William Bahia. In a moment, we'll be taking you to Morocco to discover the first high-speed train in Africa, TGV as they call it in French. Get the details right after this break.